Let's go to move into the NFC North now, another extremely competitive division in the NFC. And let's start with the Lions, who are going to have a fantastic season with returning Aiden Hutchinson, who is, despite coming back from a major injury and a disgusting injury at that, yeah, I think he's going to make an all-pro team immediately, and he's going to record 15-plus sacks. He's going to be running for Defensive Player of the Year. I think he returns with 0 to no issues. I think Aiden looks good. Reports coming out says he looks fine. He only saw 7.5 sacks and 7 tackles for a loss last season. Again, with the shortened season, we all know that Aiden Hutchinson was a shoo-in for Defensive Player of the Year if he just continued his play. And unfortunately, with the injury, he didn't. I think he's coming back for a vengeance. And again, 15-plus sacks and an all-pro. I think he's going to be very strong running for Defensive Player of the Year. I have a couple of guys who I'm going to be talking about potential Defensive Player of the Year candidates. Aiden Hutchinson comes back, and he's one of them.
You think big things are on the rise for the Lions, huh?
Yeah, at the very least, Aiden Hutchinson, I think he's going to be a huge part in how the Lions perform.
My Detroit Lions prediction starts with 2 apologies, and that's an apology to Brock, and that's an apology to George, but Sam Laporta is this year's tight end number 1, leading the position group in yards and touchdowns.
We talked about our top tight ends, top 10 positional rankings, and we talked about Sam Laporta and how he put up the exact same numbers almost and a lot of the advanced statistics from year 1 to year 2. Some of the blatant statistics in your face weren't there, but advanced-wise, he was there from year 1 to year 2. Not too much change outside of just some of the volume. It's not going to be surprising. You and I both had him very high on our list. So if he does, it would be a little surprising if he leads everyone, including Brock. Is that just how good Sam's going to be this year, or is that a fall off from anyone?
Are you asking me why I think Sam Laporta is going to be better than Brock Bowers this year, and is that a fall off on Brock's part or a rise on Sam's part?
Correct.
Well, not to spoil anything else, but the reason why Sam Laporta is going to be so good this year is to do with one, Sean Genty, running back, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay. I can take a guess on what that one is.
The reliability on Brock Bowers isn't going to be as high this year. And more balanced, structured offense is in line for the Raiders this year, in my opinion. But we'll get there. We'll get there later.
Okay. All right. Let's continue on. Vikings. I think that for one reason or another, people forget that Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the league. I know they want to give the crown to Jamar Chase after the fantastic season he just had. Absolutely. He had a great season. But Justin Jefferson is still the best receiver in the league, not by a mile, but I do think he does have a gap on everyone else because of how talented he has been. And I think he's going to lead the NFL in receiving touchdowns with 15 plus. I think he's going to show his dominance. I think he wants people to crown him again. I think Justin Jefferson is egotistical. I think he wants the accolades. I think he wants everything that comes with that. And I think first team All-Pro, 15 plus touchdowns, 1,500 yards is in the books for Justin Jefferson. Yes, I know J.J. McCarthy is throwing him the ball, but I think he's going to be targeting that number 1 quite a lot. I do think there's going to be a little bit of a fall off for Jordan Addison because I think Justin Jefferson is just going to get the looks 9 times out of 10. I think he's going to have a monster season. I think he is going to be going for the Triple Crown. He's not going to get it because JSN is going to lead the league in receptions, but he's at least going to lead the league in touchdowns.
I believe everything you just said about Justin Jefferson's ego, what he wants, his desires, and the type of player he is. Unfortunately, we are not going to have one of the best quarterback classes in the history of the NFL. J.J. McCarthy does not have the magic of last year's quarterback class. He fumbles as a check down merchant, and the Vikings end up with a top 10 pick in the NFL draft next year.
Honestly, I feel like it's one way or the other, right? You're either...
I watched almost every snap that JJ took in college. I want him to be extremely successful, but I'm just going with the odds at this point. The quarterback class that he was a part of was historic at this point we're looking at. And there's got to be one guy. And I'm going to bet that it's JJ because
I mean,
Hey,
we saw it on our rankings when we were doing the pre-draft process a couple of years ago. He's not up there in terms of the talent level, the arm level. He didn't have to do a lot in college. It was all just laid out for him. Hopefully the year does something for him sitting down, the injury, unfortunately, but sitting down, hopefully the time does well for him. I'm not saying that he's going to be fantastic, but I think he's going to do enough for at least Justin Jefferson to do his thing. Which I think Justin Jefferson can do his thing with anybody. So
let's do the Bears next. I want to save the Packers.
okay. I think the Bears are going to have a trials and tribulations season with Ben Johnson. I think they're going to be really solid on offense, and I think there's going to be some questions on defense and what they can or cannot do. So I think that the Bears are going to trade for a top-tier edge rusher by the trade deadline. Spoiler alert, I think the guy they trade for is going to have a disappointing season this season because of holding out and not really practicing. But Trey Hendrickson does want out of Cincinnati, and I think that comes in way of trade to Chicago. Again, I think he is going to have a disappointing season. I'll get to that, spoiler alert. But I do think that they trade for a top-tier edge rusher. They struggled against, or their pass rush struggled this last year. The Bears defense is supposed to be their staple. You look at the names, and the names pop out to you, and they're great. I think it comes down to scheme. And if they can't get it right, then I think that pass rusher is coming by trade deadline.
Boy, I hate that. I hate that for my team. I don't want Trey Hendrickson on the Bears. I hate that. So, nope. I don't agree with you on that. Don't want to see that. My Bears prediction is a little freaking, sorry. My Bears prediction is a little freaking crazy. You ready for this? Caleb Williams leads the league in interceptions.
Oh, yeah.
While also throwing for over 4,000 yards this year. We are going to witness the new version of famous Jameis, 30 and 30, leads the league in interceptions, throws for 4,000 yards. Ben Johnson is going to have this man trust in his arm like nothing else, and it's going to lead to some poor decisions, but it's going to be entertaining as all hell. So, leads the league in interceptions, 4,000-yard passing.
And is another one that I switched my prediction partway through, and I did have a Caleb one at one point, and my prediction for Caleb was that he overall, to the general consensus of people, the general public, has a disappointing season. It's still called overrated, and it says that he sucks. But the people that watch the games like you and I, Caleb has a good year. He has a solid year, nothing spectacular out of this world, but a solid, super solid year and a step in the right direction. So that was going to be my Caleb Williams take. Was that going to be the experts, the people who actually love the game itself and watch it, say he has a good year, but the general public says he's still overrated and still sucks. So that was going to be my take. I hope Caleb does well one facet or the other. I hope that he continues to develop the 4,000-yard thing. I think it bodes well. Leading the league in interceptions, though, on top of it, that screams Mr. Trevor Lawrence, because he did the exact same thing. So it doesn't bode well for that one. So I hope not. As long as it's entertaining, that's all I care about. Are you ready for
What you got for the pack?
I think that the Green Bay Packers running back number 2 out of USC, Marshawn Lloyd, I think he's going to solidify himself as the running back 2. First of all, I know Emmanuel Wilson has had some hype here and there, but Marshawn Lloyd, I think he's going to solidify himself as the number 2 running back. And not only solidifies himself as the number 2 running back, I think he is going to touchdown poach away from Josh Jacobs. And he is going to score 8+ touchdowns on the year. Didn't really do a whole lot last year, roughly around 300 yards, 2 touchdowns as the backup. But I like Marshawn Lloyd coming out of USC a lot. He was one of my favorite running backs to actually watch because he's incredibly entertaining. I think he is going to touchdown poach away from Josh Jacobs a little bit and solidify himself as that number 2 officially. Again, 8+ touchdowns on the year for a backup running back is significant, and I think he's going to do it.
You don't think they can afford to give Josh Jacobs 317 carries again? Because I agree.
Yeah,
That's a crap ton of carries.
No, no way.
Hey, I think if you look at the Packers and you look at their young quarterback, and they have roughly 4 or 5 number 2 wide receivers with Christian Watson ready to step up as the true number 1 on that team. Just kidding. And the defense that has potential, I think that they
Yep.
are just missing one impact piece to take this team to NFC Championship contention. And so there is going to be a bombshell trade before week 1 of the regular season, and it's going to start with a new player wearing number 11 for the Green Bay Packers, and that would be Mr. Micah Parsons. Come on down.
Yeah, whatever. I don't want to talk about it. Oh man.
If you look at teams across the league that have a ton of young talent that can afford to part with the draft picks and have a plethora of draft picks to make the trade, the Green Bay Packers are right at the top of the list. Now, whether Jerry would trade him to the NFC remains to be seen, but we all know that old man is senile as hell, and
Yep.
at this point, he might trade him away just for a chance to throw some more money at his Netflix special. So that would be my Packers prediction, not my Cowboys prediction.
If you took Jerry Jones and if you took, let's back up. If you took Yoda and you just painted him white, painted him Caucasian, that's what Jerry Jones looks like, quite literally. He's a quite literal bag of bones. He frustrates me to all hell, and I can't even go into it completely right now. Micah leaving is, I think, an actual real possibility. And to the Green Bay Packers would be pretty entertaining considering that they have a decent pass rush out there. So adding an elite number 1 guy, I think would take them to a whole nother level. It would take any of their secondary concerns out of the question if their pass rush can get there first.
Yeah, man, I was out for a nice Sunday lunch this past Sunday out here in Utah. Tons of families there. Quiet place, really good. And then you got me and your dad, and they're screaming about Jerry Jones in the middle of the restaurant. So I already battled out this with him. So yeah, that caps off the bold predictions for that division.